Bear in mind, I know that none of these have got right
I was
of
going to
arrest
say,
on me.
that's
So they've got no right of arrest on me, you know. I am a civilian. These are Navy police. And I remember, you know, saying we're arresting you for misconduct in public office. And I'm like, what? Anyway, you know, it's too long to talk about now. The detail of the conversation, don't really want to say. But it was, you know, flash to bang. It was horrible. I panicked. I'm like, you can't do this to me, you know, I want a policeman here. And this guy was just beyond arrogant. He was like, you're not getting one. I mean, what do you mean I'm not getting one? I'm entitled to a policeman. You have got no right to arrest me, you know. Yes, we have. I was like, well, show me your arrest warrant. You'll see that when we take you where we're taking you. Well, where are you taking me? It was like all this cloak and dagger. You'll find out when we get there. I'm like, look, I'm not going anywhere. And I remember making a run for the stairs, and one of the guys grabbing me, and I got away from him, and he just got into my bedroom, and he just launched on me, put my arms behind my back, handcuffs on. I'm screaming with pain now. I'm like, I'd never been handcuffed before. And I'm like, let go of me. Oh, are you going to behave yourself, are you? You know, that sort of, it was just this horrible mockery, you know. I'm like, please let go of me, you know. At this point, my dressing gown's undone, and I'm like, just humiliating. Bear in mind, I hadn't been to the toilet, brushed my teeth, or anything. And I went, yes, I'll behave, you know. And I'm like, when I even recall it back now, it makes me shudder just how I was. And they left, and these two young girls are in my bedroom now, and I had to get undressed in front of them to get dressed. And then I needed the toilet, and I keep the door of the bathroom open, force the door of the bathroom open while I went for a wee, like, you know, and it was just vile. And I remember crying, going down the stairs, and I'm like, where are you taking me? You find out when you get there. And then all these blue lights were on outside, neighbours were out, and they put me in the back of this van and shut the door, and I just was in shock, duress. And I thought, what's gone on? What's happened to me? And then I'm thinking, who's lied about me? You know, because I'd never ever done anything. You know, when I pride myself on the deployments, as I said, even in Kosovo, you know, dealing with those young girls who've been raped, dealing with the elderly ladies in Bosnia, you know, the orphanages. It's not like I'm saying I'm like some saint or anything. Everybody did some amazing things out there, but I tried to leave it better, like hearts and minds, and just been a kind human, you know. So to have this on me, I was like, what? I just couldn't process it. And I remember sitting there, and I got not angry, but I was sitting there thinking, whatever's happened, truth will come out. I haven't done anything, and that was me playing that back in my mind. But also at that same time, I was thinking of all those lads that have been accused of not looking after Iraqis properly, you know, from not giving them food, water, allowing them to go to the toilet. These lies that had been spanned by Phil Shiner, you know, putting their names into a public domain where they had no evidence to suggest that they'd done any of that. And I was like getting, you know, that was like, I was thinking, they're doing this to me. You know, they're doing exactly to me what I'd been reading about in the newspapers and on the TV. You know, where all these shocking stories that soldiers had done this and that, and you knew in your heart that nobody would have done that, or if somebody had, somebody would have gone, you can't do that, and that would have been shut down straight away. And I remember I asked the woman who was driving, I said, I think it was a man and woman, or girl, whoever would watch me get dressed. I was in the back of this, the van, and I'm like, please, can I go to the toilet? She would radio through, and I heard the Burnside, no, she can wait. I want some water. No, she can wait. I remember doing that every sort of 30 minutes. And we're going over Tower Bridge now. I'm like, where are they taking me? I'd heard that some people had been taken to Paddington police station, so I thought, well, they'll take me there. And then I'm like, no, they're not taking me there. and then getting further and further out of London. And I'm like, now I really need the toilet, and I need a drink. And I'm like, I'd say I haven't brushed my teeth or nothing. And I know it sounds it sounds minor, but at that moment, you feel like your whole of your human rights has been taken away from you.
Well, they had.
Yeah, in theory.